we're live. All right, Hydro and Co. episode something. But most importantly, Hydro and Co. episode, the Super Bowl edition. All right, boys. This is
Go Birds.
We're recording this on February 7th. So this is Tuesday. Super Bowl's on Sunday. So obviously, what we say today might end up getting contradicted in terms of any kind of injuries or anything like that. But we wanted to go ahead and make an episode about the Super Bowl. Obviously, while we would be dumb not to, talking about everything Super Bowl, matchups, predictions, who we think is going to take home the Lombardi. Will it be Patrick Mahomes? Will it be Jalen Hurts? Who will be the Super Bowl MVP? We'll find all of that out today in today's episode. So, getting into today's festivities with the Super Bowl. Chase, you said the over and under is
51 points.
That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points for any game. Now, I mean, the Eagles could go out and pull a Ford NFC Championship game and hurt Patrick Mahomes on the second drive, and you might hammer the under there. But I feel like 51 points is possible. Personally, it's like 26 points a team. So, I mean, you're thinking
25 and a half.
Yeah, so you're looking at 3-4 touchdowns a team, a little bit more for one of the winning team. So I think it's doable. I think this is going to be a really good game.
It would require little defense to be played, I feel like. So,
yes.
I don't know.
Which, glad you said that, because it seems like all week I've been hearing quite the opposite. Most people have been talking about both defenses a lot more. Talking especially about Philly's defense going up against Kansas City, talking about their defensive line. And then also talking about the Chiefs' defense, wondering, does the front seven come to play like they did in the AFC Championship game? Obviously, the offensive line for the Eagles is a lot better than the Bengals, but, it's one of those things where no one really knows, obviously, how this game's going to come out. But I did see on Pat McAfee today, they said that 67% of the money bet in America has been on the Eagles. So a lot of people are leaning towards the Eagles, and what's funny about that is even though the money's been bet on the Eagles, like at a more than majority clip, like 67% of the money on any game is a pretty good margin in one team's favor. The line hasn't moved at all because the line's set at 1.5, isn't it?
Yep.
So they don't want to move it off of 1.5 because I mean, let's face it, Chiefs, like let's say they move the line to 3.5, like. The Chiefs minus 3.5, you're probably going to take that line just because it's the Super Bowl.
I won't.
Yeah, well, obviously. To look over the injury report real quick. So, Mecole Hardman got put on IR after the AFC Championship game. That was a big blow. But Juju and Kadarius Toney are both expected to play. So, hopefully the wide receiver issues that they had in the AFC Championship game towards the end of the game still won't be an issue. L'Jarius Sneed is one to look out for. He's questionable with concussion. They don't know yet if he's going to play or not, but it's trending that he is. That's one.
I heard that he was cleared. I think.
Okay.
Let me look it up real quick. We can.
And then Willie Gay is also another one that's listed as questionable with the shoulder. If they both play, if you're a Chiefs fan, you're wanting both of them to play. You want your defense to be, as healthy as possible.
I think I could have 2 torn Achilles and I would go play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is.
I don't know.
Probably physically couldn't play in the Super Bowl.
Couldn't walk out there, but I would try.
Mentally, you would be wanting to be out there.
Spirits may make it halfway down the ramp.
And then a sneaker thing that people have been talking about today is that Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been cleared from IR from his high ankle sprain. Wondering how much Kansas City will use him. Just FYI, he hasn't played since week 11. So. What, week 11 is like October?
I wouldn't even use him. I wouldn't even play
November?
November.
I feel like you play him on a limited snap count. Because if you're CEH, like you're wanting to go out there and play. Like you didn't just clear him off IR and just stand on the sideline during the Super Bowl.
I know he wants to go out there and play, but Pacheco, I think, is head and shoulders better than him, and I think McKinnon's a better pass catcher. I don't think there's much use for him.
By the way, Sneed is cleared.
Well, it's good. And that's a fair point. Pacheco has been surprised, kind of like how Clyde was his first year, his rookie year. Because it was like Williams and I forget the other name of the running back at the time. And then Clyde came in and kind of took over as a rookie, and then shit kind of went downhill from there. But I think Pacheco is not going to do the same thing. I think Pacheco will be there's never not going to be a committee in Kansas City. I think they're not going to have a bell cow running back because it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, they pass the ball too much. But Pacheco is easily the running back one in Kansas City.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't go back to him. I really wouldn't. There's no way. Yeah, Pacheco has like all the momentum in the world. So if you even split it up halfway, like 50-50, you're doing yourself a disservice by taking the ball away from the hot hand. So,
well,
Agreed.
We're moving on to the Eagles injury report. Landon Dickerson is unspecified on his injury. He was on the injury report. I don't think no one on the Eagles is expected not to play, I don't think. Lane Johnson's
all 22
obviously
starters are going to play.
Yeah. Lane Johnson's obviously dealing with his groin. Cam Jurgens is his hip. Avonte Maddox had a toe, and then Robert Quinn had a foot. Which, I mean, fuck, Robert Quinn is useless in that fucking defense anyway. He's like,
he's going to make a play.
What is he like?
I'm calling it right now. He's going to make a play.
What is he, like the 8th defensive end on the depth chart?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing you guys have in that position is depth. And I'm honestly, like, you obviously saw Lane Johnson had no issue, really, in the NFC Champ. I mean, he fucking pancaked Joey Bosa with a torn groin. So that man is running on pure fucking adrenaline. Because I've pulled a groin. I pulled a groin in high school playing soccer. That shit sucks. Like, it hurts really bad. Feels like someone stabbed me in the dick with a knife. And his is fucking torn. And he's out there playing fucking, 100% snap count damn near. Just mauling motherfuckers. That's very impressive to say the least.
Real quick, Nick Bosa was the one that got pancaked. Joey Bosa, however, got bullied by all the Eagles fans. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
Yeah,
I did. He got his feelings hurt.
Yeah, he did.
I thought he was going to swing on him.
To
be honest.
No way. And then they gave him shit when he was in the press box, gave him the middle fingers and stuff. Great time.
Joey Bosa,
I liked every second of it.
He has a face. He has that face, of someone that, like, you just want to flip off. Like, fuck you, dude. Like, Nick, not as much, but Joey, like, he looks like a damn dog anyway. He's got a damn hound face.
Did y'all see possibly where Max Crosby got on a podcast with somebody, and they kind of, without saying names, they kind of asked about, like, not getting holding calls and stuff, and he goes, yeah. He was like, I've never been one to complain about the refs because there's holding on every play. They just kind of choose when they want to throw it. And then he said something like there's this one player recently, he was throwing a bitch fit pretty much that he didn't get a call and looking like a baby on the sideline. And it was pretty funny. If y'all, after this, y'all need to go watch it because it was straight at Joey Bosa.
Well,
he does enjoy some Bud Light seltzers, though. He had one in his hand. He was having a good time. Until, of course.
Figure.
Yeah.
He's watching that figure. But going back to the team that pancaked and straight up like offended both Bosa brothers, arguably. Eagles, Chiefs, Arizona. In the dome, weather conditions are not a factor. That's what I love about the Super Bowl is, you got less, especially when it's in a dome, you got less opportunity to bitch about things. There's been a lot of bitching in the AFC Championship game about it being rigged. There wasn't much coming out of the NFC Championship game because, it was just an absolute fucking slaughter because, obviously, ain't much that 49ers could have done there. But this game is going to be two teams. I think two completely different styles of football. To be honest, I think it's kind of a new school versus old school kind of thing. The Eagles are good in the trenches, and I saw something. They're like last in the league in pre-snap motion over the last 2 years. And then you got the Chiefs that they could come out on the first play and run some like bullshit ass play action route that you're going to see in Madden next year. And that's what's going to be interesting to me is to see, which side prevails. And
trenches versus backyard football.
Yeah.
Schoolyard bullshit, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
And And to be fair and to put respect to the Chiefs as they deserve, they've been quite successful with that backyard bullshit. When it works, things like lateral passes on normal routes, almost running hook and ladders with Travis Kelce, which if it would have connected, would have led to some more yards. I mean, I think that's something the Eagles got to watch out for. Is they're going to do something, and you got to be able to stop it when it does, where it's going to end up in a big play. But I think what would be best here to do is kind of talk about some of the matchups. I know the biggest matchup coming into this game, arguably, is going to be the Kansas City O-line versus Philly's D-line. So I feel like we should start with that. So who wants to go ahead and talk a little bit about that matchup, what they think is going to end up happening?
I'm going to pull up something real quick, so if somebody has something to say, go for it.
Beard, you got anything?
I'll go ahead and say something real quick.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
Okay.
This is going to be, I think the success of the Kansas City's O-line is there's no possible way they're going to 100% shut down this pass rush. It's not going to happen. You're going to give up sacks. If you get lucky and give up 2-3 sacks, I think that's a win if you're Kansas City. They got a good offensive line, don't get me wrong, but that defensive line is insane. So I think that the Chiefs have to come out. They got to play quick. They got to get the ball out quick. And I think if anybody's able to do that, it's Patrick Mahomes. So I think Kansas City has to be really careful and play really quick football without making mistakes and neutralize that defensive line. Hassan Reddick's going to get back there. It's kind of just pick your poison. I think you try the run game early, see if it works, see if the offensive line can get to the second level, and if they can't, then it's going to be one of those games where you're going to pass the ball a lot. Because in the Super Bowl, unless you're ahead, you don't really have a lot of in every football game, you're not going to run a bunch when you're down. But in the Super Bowl, there's such a sense of urgency to, get back in the game quick because, it's the Super Bowl. There's a lot more stress added onto this game than other games. I think the Chiefs are going to end up passing early and often if they can't get the run game established early.
To kind of piggy bank off of that, a big thing is going to be, can Andy Reid put his ego aside of just wanting to rely on Patrick Mahomes to drop back in a 3-step, 5-step drop backs and go 1, 2, 3 through his reads like he tried to do against the Bucs, and Mahomes was under pressure all game in that Super Bowl. So Andy Reid's going to have to put that kind of ego aside, and he's going to have to do what White said, draw up plays to get the ball out of Mahomes' hands. Because I'm going to be honest, the Chiefs' offensive line they're not going to stop the Eagles' defensive line. If the Chiefs and Mahomes just sit there and drop back and they wait for somebody to get open, he's going to get sacked, just like against the Bucs. So they got to get the ball out of his hands quick with RPOs, like a handoff to Pacheco with a seam to Kelce or a slant to Juju or whatever it is. That's just what they're going to have to do. But Andy Reid is very capable of that. It's just, again, how I started. It's going to be whether or not he puts his big ego aside and just calls the game to where he's going to have to call it rather than how he wants to call it.
Yeah. And before you go ahead, Chase, I just want to state that you just made a really good point there, Kendall. I don't think you can 5-step drop against this defensive line.
No.
You can't. And if you are going to 5-step drop, you got to sit in max protect. And if you're sitting in max protect on a 5-step drop, then you only got 3 receivers and maybe your running back running out after the play. So it's kind of ineffective in a sense to run a 5-step drop. So it's going to be 3-step drops, like you said, RPOs, bubbles, screens. Pacheco might have 100 receiving yards in this game if they play really well. It's going to be that kind of game. Kelce, it's going to be 5-yard ends, mesh concepts, short scissor routes, at the 10-yard line. They're not going to be able to run that jet Chris Wasp that they ran last Super Bowl where it was Tyreek Hill 40 yards downfield. It's going to be 3-step, quick, bam, bam, bam. And that might honestly help the Eagles even more in that case. Because everything's going to be played in front more than likely for most of the game.
if you're gonna go that route and go max protect against the Eagles, I'd be willing to bet that Darius Slay, Bradbury, Gardner Johnson are going to be able to cover Kelsey, because outside of Kelsey, there's not really a receiver that's going to beat the corners that the Eagles have consistently one-on-one. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, Chase.
So, the obvious weakness in the Chiefs O-line is Andrew Wiley. And guess who's on that side? It's Hassan Reddick. So if I had to guess, the Chiefs are going to come out in a lot of 2 tight end sets and then put I forget who their backup tight end is, but put him on the same side as Andrew Wiley to kind of help out.
I think his last name's Gray.
Okay. Well, I know Travis Kelce's not going to do any chip blocking or any blocking,
no,
because he's not that guy. When it comes
Noah
to
Gray.
Noah Gray.
Noah Gray, cool. Yeah, because Travis Kelce isn't the greatest pass blocker, and also they're not going to take one of their best weapons out of the play to block. So, I mean, so Andrew White's going to have his hands full with Hassan Reddick, and after that chip block, 1-on-1, Hassan Reddick can get to the quarterback, quicker than most people. Obviously, the strength in the Chiefs line is Creed Humphrey, so he'll go up against, typically it'll be Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Ndamukong Suh, and Linval Joseph. Those the last two on first down typically. So he'll have his hands full as well. I mean, there's not really a weakness to the D line. So it's going to be really up to that right side and what they plan. I can see a lot of double teams, but you're also using a lot of resources to take away, one guy and help out one guy. So it'll be interesting to see how often they utilize a double team or like a chip block or whatever the case may be. But I mean, even then, you still got to worry about 3 other guys on the other side of Hassan Reddick, getting pressure. So it's like a catch-22. You don't want to give up too many resources on one guy, but you might have to. So it'd be interesting. But I mean, this is as even as the edge is still Philly when it comes to this line battle, but this is as close as the Eagles have gotten to a great match, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't see.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I don't see how you don't double team Hassan all game long. Because I think Brown, Tooney, and Humphrey can handle their own in one-on-one blocking 8 to 9 times out of 10. They're going to give 1 or 2 up just to the talent on the other side. But yeah, like you said, I'm doubling Hassan Reddick on either side of the ball, on either side of the line, every single play. And I'm probably, if I'm going 2 tight end sets, I'm going Blake Bell and Noah Gray, and I'm moving Kelsey out to the slot. Because with Hardman out, you don't have a bona fide slot receiver, and if you're running that quick inside anyway, you want your best pass catcher in the slot because he's going to run right through the middle of the field. Because MVS and Juju are not slot guys. So I'd run Kelsey in the slot damn near all game and go 2 tight end with Blake Bell and Noah Gray and just hope for the best for them to block and have CJ Garner Johnson and a linebacker on Kelsey and hope that he can still find open holes in the defense.
What I was going to say is I was going to kind of state the obvious. Whenever you play the Chiefs, you're obviously not going to sit you're not going to stack the box against them. That's just not how they've ever been played, nor will they ever get played when they have Mahomes. So I was going to state the obvious that the Chiefs are going to have to run the ball. If you look back at their last 2 Super Bowls, they've both faced good pass rushes against the 49ers and the Bucs. The first game, they ran the ball with Damian Williams, and he should have won Super Bowl MVP. He had a great game, and they ended up winning. And then against the Bucs, they tried to drop back and pass all game, and it was just setting them up for failure, and I loved every second of it.
For sure. What's the next matchup? Because I have some things I want to say, but I don't want to leak into another matchup.
Well, I think we should flip it.
Yeah, flip
and
it.
Go, the Eagles' offensive line offense versus a Chiefs defensive line that is I think slightly underrated coming into this game. Obviously, the talk is on the Eagles' defensive line because it's the Eagles and they have some of the biggest names in football on that D line. You have a really good D line. Derek Nandi, Chris Jones in the nose, Frank Clark, George Karlaftis on the edges, and then you got guys like Nick Bolton that come off the edge. So I think this versus the best offensive line in the NFL, without a doubt in my mind, from the left tackle to right tackle all the way through, is probably the best pound for pound offensive line we've probably seen in the last couple of years, in my opinion. And I don't know if there's a weak spot. It's definitely not Lane Johnson. It's definitely not Jason Kelce.
That's not Isaac Seumalo.
Yeah, it's definitely not Jordan Mailata.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, and this is as honest as I'll ever be. Jordan Mailata he's not the best when it comes like a speed rush. If you go power on power, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the guy, but he's huge. And so like that tells his strength. So if you have like a speed guy, this is your chance to line him up against somebody and make an impact. He's not going to lose every single matchup when it comes down to that. But from watching the games this year, that's who he struggled against is speed rushers. And if they come in with like a power rush and they switch to like a speed, he throws them off. But I mean,
yeah,
I don't think the Chiefs have like a speed rush guy.
I think Frank Clark's probably the best, or Dunlap, but they're both older. Karlaftis is more of a power guy, and I think what's going to be interesting is to see if they do what they did against the Bengals. They essentially isolated Chris Jones to one edge. He's a D tackle, but they would line him up in like damn near the A gap, but they would stack the other side. So it would be three guys on the left side overload. So then Chris Jones is a one-on-one, which in this case would be Lane Johnson. Or you could flip it and it could be one-on-one with Mailata too, to try to have Chris Jones get his best opportunity at the quarterback. Because, Chris Jones, Isaac Seumalo and, Jason Kelce, if he's rushing straight up the middle like that, you're wasting a lot of talent in the gap right there. I think Nandi, I think Karlaftis, I think Dunlap can take care of that. And based on what game plan the Eagles come out with is going to dictate that a lot too. They come out and run the ball a shitload. I think that's the worst thing the Eagles can do, honestly. I think if you guys come out and run the ball heavy to start the game, you're going to find yourself in a hole. Just because I think Jones, Nandi can fill those holes. Frank Clark can fill those holes. I don't think you're going to be able to run the ball as well. I feel like your offensive line and pass pro is going to be so much more effective. And then that brings up the question, Jalen. I feel like Jalen Hurts is going to have to, take the team and lead the team to win this game, personally.
Well, I think you combat that with RPOs. So, I mean, you don't know what we're going to throw at you. And I know that's so cliche, but I feel like that's like the strength of like that's like the benefit of running like an RPO offense is like you can prepare for the run all day long, but you hit a quick pass and it's going for 10, 20 yards because, I mean, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are both great after the catch. But I'll say that for the next segment of this. But as far as running the ball, I know people are going to say, Brock Purdy was hurt, the defense was on the field all game long. But, I mean, we ran, I want to say, all over the 49ers defense, and they're arguably they probably are the best run defense in football. So, I mean, it is our strength, and it's our bread and butter. And, I'd like to see Jalen Hurts be more of a threat with his legs, but I mean, Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, what?
Breaking news: Derek Carr's visiting the Saints tomorrow.
Boom!
All right.
Come home, baby. Come home. Come home to NOLA, baby.
It says Ian Rappaport, Raiders have granted quarterback Derek Carr permission to visit the Saints tomorrow.
Well, I got some more breaking news. Kevin Durant won't play in the All-Star game. All right. So,
who gives
Hey,
a shit?
I think that's the first time basketball's been talked about in any capacity on the show.
Hey, this is all you need to know. That man right there is the GOAT.
Oh,
except for, never mind. But,
Shut up.
what I was saying, but like running
Sorry.
the ball is like our strength. And so, I mean, you can't not run the ball. And so I think in all honesty, they'll try to set the tone early by running the ball. And if we get started running the ball, it's going to be a long game for the Chiefs because I don't trust their secondary to stop the pass. And so
that's my exact point. Is I think the Chiefs got to come out and try to run counter because you want to force them into one dimension and it be the pass, so you can give all the help to the pass you can because they're obviously going to run zone, but like Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are going to be running their like chickens with their head cut off all game long because they're going to have to double. I mean, they're probably going to have to double AJ Brown, and they're also going to have to shade Devontae too, And then I think Dallas Goedert could have a breakout game because if he gets forgotten about, Dallas Goedert is more than capable to go out and catch 10 receptions for 120 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert is, I think, severely underrated at the tight end position, just because of the threats and weapons on this team specifically this year. But I think y'all are ready to move on to the next matchup.
Go
Okay, I
Birds.
want to say I want to say one thing. I didn't get
Yep.
to talk on this one.
fucking love it, dude.
Me too.
Whatever side Chris Jones is shaded to inside, I feel like it's pretty simple for the Eagles. That's what side Jason Kelsey's going to shade to and help on, and I think it's that simple. I don't see anybody outside of Chris Jones giving the Eagles offensive line trouble except for Steve Spagnuolo, which is the Chiefs defensive coordinator. I think the only way that they're going to get pressure is by disguised blitzes.
Dude's a genius on
He is.
defense.
I hate to admit it, but he is, and it's annoying to watch.
I think moving on, do y'all want to do maybe the quarterback versus quarterback? So, obviously we got old Patrick Mahomes. We got Jalen Hurts. And in case of emergency situations, you got Gardner Minshew versus what's his fucking name?
Dude, anything is possible, man.
Chad
Come
Henne. Yeah, I don't understand. I just want to make this point clear. I think most successful teams have a great backup. Thus, the Eagles having Gardner Minshew, or like when Teddy was the backup in New Orleans. Like, you have a serviceable backup. Chad Henne's not a serviceable backup anymore, and I don't understand why they have him behind Patrick Mahomes. You're throwing all your eggs in one basket.
Dude, every time he gets opportunity, he plays better than Mahomes.
That's besides the point. No,
it didn't. Chase just left.
hey, you keep going.
Yeah, we keep going.
So we're gonna go, the quarterback, both quarterbacks. So we obviously have Jalen versus Patrick Mahomes.
Let me word it like this. I seen this on First Take, so we could just do the exact same thing. Who would a Super Bowl win mean more towards in their careers, Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts?
Good question. That's a very good
That is a very good question.
I think personally it's Patrick Mahomes, and here's why. If you go play the Super Bowl, this is Jalen Hurts' first Super Bowl. He's young. If he goes 0-1 as a Super Bowl quarterback, to him it doesn't tarnish him a whole heck of a lot. It's his first opportunity. For some players, it's your first opportunity in the Super Bowl. It's going to be, it might be a rough game for him. He might be getting used to that stage, and he loses. And I don't think people are going to dog him, but it's not that big of a deal. If Patrick Mahomes goes into his third Super Bowl and comes out with only one, people are going to start, questioning, because Patrick Mahomes is on this pedestal of the GOAT talk, like he's on the Mount Rushmore of the NFL already. And this is going to mean a lot more because he's trying to cement his legacy, and the media is trying to cement his legacy, because if he wins this, it's going to be Brady Mahomes all off season long. But if he loses it, it's going to be, is Mahomes really on track to be the GOAT? Yada, yada, yada. That's going to be the conversation to hear.
Mahomes has to win
So I
7
think-
rings to even have a discussion about being the GOAT.
We'll see. That's the thing, is people are already having the discussion after he's won one.
Yeah, and that's
just
a
because,
joke.
just because of the talent he possesses.
JOKE. That's a joke. What? What?
So I think it means more to Patrick Mahomes personally. Now, it's a whole different conversation if you want to talk about the team entirely. Like, is it more important for the Eagles or the Chiefs? But I think it's more important for Mahomes to win.
It is very close, and I kind of thought about it whenever I was watching First Take today, and I'm leaning Jalen, and here's why. Mahomes, everybody, like you said, everybody's already starting to put him in all-time conversations. Like, some people got him in their all-time top 5 already. With Jalen, just being truthful, last year and the year before, whenever he got to play a little bit, it was a little rough. This is like his first year of stepping up and being great. So if he wins, that would submit this season fully for him. And I think that going forward, it would be for sure, no question, that he's like the guy. Jalen next year could take a step back. I feel that what I'm saying is Mahomes, everybody knows who he is. Like, that's kind of, it's Patrick Mahomes. Everybody,
You know what you're getting.
90% of this world, if not more, will tell you that he's the best quarterback in the league. And if they don't tell you that he's the best, they'll say he's the second best. With
Never
Jalen,
hasn't
like,
made an AFC championship game.
do what?
Never hasn't made an AFC championship game.
But with Jalen, he's like trying to break up into that tier. And so if he wins, then it becomes a whole hell of a lot better conversation. So
He's top 5 quarterback if he wins.
Yes, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like Mahomes, he could lose the Super Bowl, and I'd still bet 98% of this world's still going to say he's the best quarterback in the league. So I think that's why it means a little bit more to Jalen.
Patrick Mahomes is what, 1-1?
1-1. Mm-hmm.
I think it would mean more to Jalen, but it would do more damage to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
like if Jalen wins, I mean, he proves like doubters wrong. Like, hey, you can be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He did it. There'll obviously be people that say he had a stacked team, but like, I mean, who doesn't try to make a stacked team? Like, that's like the point. But,
That's kind of what I was trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
he'd stamp it.
Yeah, and so like with Patrick Mahomes, you want to, people claim that you are the best quarterback in the league. He kind of falls in that Josh Allen category where like it's like you kind of falter whenever the brightest lights are on you. I know he's won 1 ring, but if you want to be like a great, like they have all the greats in all the sports you think of. Tom Brady has how many rings? A lot.
He's
Right?
7 for
7.
10.
Yeah. Kobe, he has
5.
5.
Yeah, and then like that's just to name a few. So like, you can't put him in. Like if you lose and you go 1 for 2, that's tough. Like to your legacy. Plus he's 27, 28, so he's not that old. But
Even somebody like Steph Curry, he's won 4 and he's only lost 1. He's 4 for 5.
yeah, so I mean, everybody's going to bring up that record whenever it comes to your legacy. They're going to bring up that record, and so that's my stance on it. Is it would hurt Patrick Mahomes more, but I mean, as far as like the positive to it, it would definitely like catapult Jalen Hurts to a top 5 quarterback. And the only thing that scares me though is like if we do win, he throws like 98 yards and 1 touchdown or something like that, and everybody's like, dude, he threw for fucking 98 yards. Like,
Yeah, that I was just about to say that's the only way that if he wins the Super Bowl, it hurts him is if he goes out and he throws like 120 yards with a touchdown and a pick or something like that. The defense carries.
But I mean, if it's a productive game, I mean, you can't fault them for throwing 120 yards. I mean,
Pretty
he is
much.
like a. No, go for it.
Oh, sorry. Pretty much, if the Chiefs win, this is this is Jalen, this is Mahomes' stock. Let's say if the Chiefs win, Jalen stays, Mahomes does that. If the Eagles win, Jalen's does this, Patrick Mahomes does this. Like, if the Chiefs win, their stocks don't change very much. If the Eagles win, Jalen's stock goes way up. Mahomes, I'd say, barely drops.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a – go ahead.
I was going to say, the last thing I really want to say is, if Jalen's been in the league, this is his third year, but he's only 24 years old. And, I mean, he's improved every single year he's played. So, like, he hasn't reached, like, his prime yet. So, to win a ring before you hit your prime and before people are, like, labeling you, like, a top 5 quarterback, like, that's something, So, he can definitely jumpstart, like, his I'm not going to say Hall of Fame career, but if it ends up being a Hall of Fame career, this would be the start of it. This would be like a great start.
I think if he wins the Super Bowl, it goes Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Hurts, and then Herbo and Lamar at 5. I think he's a top 4 quarterback.
Depending on what Rodgers does.
Yeah. But I think we go ahead and y'all want to talk about, I know you were wanting to talk about the Eagles skill position guys versus the Chiefs secondary. So we can get into that. Obviously, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Am I missing anybody?
Not really, to be honest.
Those 3, Miles Sanders. And then you got Leo Chenal, L'Jarius Sneed, Trent McDuffie, Juan Thornhill, and Justin Reed in the secondary.
Here's your take. Devontae Smith's the best playmaker on the field.
Oh, bang!
Oh, bang! Both teams.
That's a hot
both
take.
sides. No, both sides.
Both sides? That's a hot take.
Yeah, on the field.
I think Travis Kelce is.
No, give me Smitty.
Is the correct answer.
Did Travis Kelce win a Heisman?
He played at Cincinnati. He was
no,
never
he
going to
didn't.
win a
There's
Heisman.
your answer. He didn't.
I agree. Like I've said in the group chat before. At least, hold on. Let me clear myself up. I've said in the group chat before that I think Devontae is by far like the best receiver we have. AJ Brown's going to get all the hype, but Devontae Smith is, in my opinion, the best pure receiver we have.
He's the most talented.
Oh yeah, and like, look, we can sit here all day long and say that catch wasn't a catch, but if I go to NFL.com, ESPN, and I go to the drive where he did have that catch, it's not going to say it looked like an incompletion to me, or might have been.
There's not going to be an asterisk there.
No, it's going to say Devontae Smith catch for blank yards. So,
if anything, I give him credit for hurrying the team up and getting everybody to the line.
Yeah, he was like, "Come on!"
He fucking knew. He was like, "Let's
he gave
go."
him the signal. It was good awareness by him. He knew he didn't catch it, but he was like, "Come on, guys, let's go."
Yeah, and that's all Kyle Shanahan's fault. That is fucking terrible coaching right there.
It's too early not to throw the flag.
As soon as he gets up yelling all his, throw it. Just throw the red flag.
It's not like it's the second half where like you might have to save those timeouts. You fucking throw it. What's the worst that could happen? You're wrong and you lose a timeout.
If you get it right, you get the ball. It's 4th down.
He wasted his 3 timeouts in the first half on delay game penalties anyway.
Anyway.
I was going to say this. I think with the whole A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith situation, it's like A.J. Brown is the number 1 receiver in the media and out externally because he needs to be that for his ego. We've seen it very clearly on the field that he is not a fan of not having the ball in his hands. But when Nick Sirianni locks that door and they have a coaches meeting and they're sitting there and they're talking, I think every coach in that room knows who the most talented receiver is on that team, and it's Devontae Smith.
It's that skinny guy.
Yeah,
it's that very skinny guy.
And that's the thing when you coach too is like, there's people on your team that you coach that everyone around you that's not a coach is like, that kid's great. That's the guy right there. But the coaches when the coaches get together and they talk about a kid, it might be a completely different person because like they see these things day in and day out that we don't even see. And if we're sitting here saying we think Devontae Smith might arguably be better than A.J. Brown, well, I think the coaches probably see it too.
I will say, though, AJ Brown is definitely more explosive, and whenever he's on, he is going to be the best receiver on that field. But like as far as like consistency goes, he's not consistent, and that might have something to do because Jalen Hurts is still hurt.
I'm gonna make a comparison here. Back when Amari Cooper used to play for the Raiders, if we did not get him involved in the first drive or two, I don't want to really use the word quit. I don't know if he'd quit on the team, but he definitely, if we did not get him involved in the first drive or two, he would kind of like almost shut down, and he would not give his full effort on every play, not even close. But if we got him involved early, Amari did, he's going for 10 or 12 catches that day. He ain't going to get stopped because it's just a mental thing. Like he's like, okay, I got involved. I'm going to get the ball today. Let's go out here and dominate.
I think another good comparison but to Devontae Smith would be T. Higgins. The only difference in that comparison is the person that's above him. Jamar Chase is the undisputed number one receiver on that team, and he shows it. A.J. Brown sometimes doesn't. T. Higgins still shows his ability to be that top guy like Devontae does, but it's not to the point where it's like, man, T. Higgins is the number one guy in that wide receiver room. Like, no, it's Jamar Chase.
If T. Higgins has a good drive and catches a touchdown, then I'd be willing to bet within 2 drives, Jamar Chase is going to have 3 catches.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I think Devontae Smith is the number one receiver on 40% of teams in this league. 50% even.
Go try 80.
I think 80's a stretch.
Okay, yeah. Let's
I mean, down. Like I say 40%. He's like a top 20 receiver at that point.
I think he's took a step up this year, though.
I'm gonna go through every team in my head while y'all keep talking.
That's arguable. But I think we can. I want to make one take of my own here.
Oh gosh!
I don't think. No, I think this isn't like super hot.
No, okay.
I don't think AJ Brown or Devontae are going to be the person in the Super Bowl that really shocks the world and puts a stamp on this game. I think it's going to be Dallas Goedert. I think Dallas Goedert is going to have Eagles fans are going to be like, we know that's Dallas Goedert, like he's capable of that all along. But the media and the rest of the world who's looking at AJ Brown and Devontae are going to be genuinely surprised. And I think Willie Gay and Nick Bolton and those linebackers are going to be so focused on helping over that they're going to forget the seams and the over the middle stuff. And I think Dallas is going to be able to have a really big game if they scheme it right.
So according to my opinion, in my opinion only, he'd be a wide receiver 1 on 20 NFL teams, which puts him at 62.5%.
That was close.
You're saying 80%. Don't do that. Don't even. No. We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
So the last thing I'll say to wrap this up, because I guess we kind of combined both position groups, is the main thing with the Chiefs is they got to get Travis Kelce involved in the middle of the field. Like I said, the previous weeks is the Eagles' weakness. However, the last time we played in the Super Bowl, it was kind of almost like a similar type team, right? It was Tom Brady, who's a great quarterback. Doesn't really have a number one receiver. Has a great tight end in Gronk. Doesn't really have a good a top running back. We put one of our cornerbacks on Gronk, or we checked him like a safety. We shadowed him. We didn't take him out of the game completely because he did score, but I mean we slowed him down. And I don't think the receivers on the Chiefs require you to shade and kind of keep an eye on. I fully believe Darius Slay and James Bradbury and Vontae Max can guard whoever, whenever, and then on the flip side, who's going to stop the Eagles playmakers? Who is it? Who's going to step up and make the play?
Justin Reed's going to have a massive ass game.
It's not going to be a player. None of their players are going to. It's going to have to be their defensive coordinator.
Steve-O.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one of the strengths of the Eagles' offense is just keeping you on your toes. So, I mean, I don't see who would you say is the best cornerback on the Chiefs?
It's L'Jarius Sneed.
And his strength is
blitzing.
Yeah,
and that's what they're going to do. I mean, that's a Steve Spagnuolo defense. They're a blitzing team. They're going to blitz, and they're going to play zone,
which is an area of weakness for the Eagles. But I think if you're known to blitz, we'll at least have some type of preparation for it. So it'll be interesting to see how the Eagles handle that.
I think they're hoping that they can do their disguise blitz stuff and it works, because that's Steve Spagnuolo. Like, he disguises blitzes, he blitzes out of ways that you don't expect, and he gets to the quarterback, which is different because you're playing a zone read team with a running quarterback.
And if it doesn't work, then they rely on a shootout.
Yep. And I'm going to be straight up dead ass honest. If it is a shootout, this is the Chiefs' game to win.
I agree.
I don't think the Eagles will let it. I don't think the Eagles will let it happen. Yeah. I think as long as, like, the Eagles aren't losing by multiple scores, they'll continue to do their thing. They'll continue to run the ball, and they'll be successful. But I don't want a shootout. But at the same time, you know, this would be the game to have a shootout where it's like one team's going to win, like one team's going to like eventually like take over. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see which team it would be, though.
I think if I'm the Chiefs, I'm deferring, and I'm hoping that I get the ball last in the 2-minute drill and I can score. So I can, in a hopeful world, you go up 7 maybe going into half, and then get the ball back and try to score another 7 and go up 14 to try to force the Eagles in the second half to have to throw the ball. Because if you, like you said, if they're not down 2 scores, if you're the Eagles, you're running the ball. And, you know, the Chiefs, you want them to not run the ball so you can maximize your coverage. So I think you're right. They're going to have to get ahead. But I do think if this game gets over the 30-point threshold, the Chiefs' chances of winning probably go up 25%. But I want to talk about the coaches, because we've talked about Steve Spagnuolo, and you know, let's move on to the actual head coaches. So we're talking Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni, old school versus new school, coordinator versus game manager. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of Nick Sirianni as a head coach. Just
I
because
love him.
And you know what, in terms of getting the guys hyped up and rallying the troops and calling timeouts, he's good at that.
Go Birds.
That's about all he does.
Oh boy,
is call timeouts, throws the challenge flag, and hypes up the guys.
Manages the clock.
He does, you know, he doesn't call plays on either side of the ball. Like his freaking little sheet of paper he carries around, I don't know if that's like a how-to sheet on when to call a timeout or something, because there ain't no damn plays on that motherfucker, because he ain't calling them. You know, maybe the rule book, so he knows when to throw the challenge flag, but like Andy Reid, like
the rule book.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it worked. Hey, it could be effective, you know. You might be able to read something up real quick, like, oh fuck, he fucked up there. Hey, ref, come here.
Read this. We're not going to do this shit.
Andy Reid.
We're not going to shit on my boy.
Andy Reid is arguably the greatest offensive play caller of this generation, and I think obviously in the coaching department it is a one-sided battle. It is Andy Reid, and it is not even fucking close.
I mean, there's, but like, I feel like the new school coaches are going to be the people. There's going to be more players. I mean, besides like DeMeco Ryans, who's obviously a great defensive coordinator, but like you're going to get more and more people who don't call plays and let the offensive and defensive masterminds be the coordinators, and someone will be happy with that. And then you're going to have the head coach who can connect with the players and get the best out of them. And that's like the most important thing in the world to me, is like getting the most out of your players is much more meaningful than calling a good play. Because like, let somebody else handle that and just worry about the people around you. Because sometimes if you are so worried about offense or defense, you neglect the people in front of you, and then, you know, obviously people have feelings, dude. You know, you gotta watch your feelings.
I see what you're saying. I mean, like Khalif Kingsbury, for example, he'd be a great coordinator. He's a shitty coach.
Terrible head coach. Great coordinator.
But on the flip side, like DeMeco Ryan, like you said, we're going to see it eventually after a year or two. Great coordinator. See how it translates. And there's a fine line to walk. Like Josh McDaniels, for example, is a great coordinator, terrible head coach.
Shitty coach.
Dennis Allen, great coordinator, terrible head coach.
Shitty coach.
Belichick, great coordinator, great coach.
Shitty coach.
Oh,
Lost to the
okay.
Birds.
Well,
Whoa.
okay. All right. All right. Next topic.
We need to calm it down there,
All right.
Mr. James.
He was Tom Brady
Next-
made.
Next topic.
No.
Am I wrong? Am I
All
wrong?
right, boys.
Somebody
You
tell me
are
I'm
wrong. You're wrong.
You're wrong.
We're going to give everybody's keys to the game. We're going to go around. Everybody's going to give their keys to the game. If you want to do an offensive and defensive key, that's fine. And then after that, we're going to do Super Bowl predictions. Who you got winning the whole damn thing? So, B. Rich, we'll start with you. What is your key
gosh.
to the game?
Why me first?
Because I feel like people haven't heard you talk in 50 minutes since we
4
started
points.
recording. Go Birds.
More points and go Birds, baby.
I like it.
That's what
Oh,
No, I don't know.
just like
The Eagles defense. I mean, really, the biggest key is the Eagles defense getting two stops to begin the game and trying to get at least 10 points out of it. Honestly, it puts them in the
Not bad.
driver's seat.
hey, that's a great
That's
take,
not
Rich.
bad.
Good
I mean,
job.
I really do, because if
You-
you're gonna let the Chiefs hang around in it,
I think B Rich is learning, man.
Yeah, man. Look at that.
You know how B Rich just had this take, Chase, into the season. That's going to be you with baseball here in about 8 months. It's going to be October, and you're going to be like, well, the key to this, is we got to get the starting pitchers out there early, throwing good quality 6 innings, and we're going to be like, yeah, Chase.
Oh, yeah.
All right. My key to the game is kind of linked to both teams. It's a turnover battle. Do not give the other offense any more possessions than you have to. And I'm going to say this especially more towards the Eagles side. Do not turn the ball over and let Patrick Mahomes get any more than one extra possession. If you turn the ball over twice or more, I'm saying you got no chance to win. You can afford one. You can't really afford two.
Yeah. I'd say my key to the game, personally, would just be adapt for both teams. It's the Super Bowl. You're to the point now where every single scheme, every single corner of your playbook you can throw out into the wind now, because after this game, it's a brand new season. You're going to have to redo your playbook anyway. So it's every corner will be looked into to go into this game. You're going to see schemes. You're going to see plays that they haven't ran all year long. And you might come out and get surprised early on, Chiefs or the Eagles, And I think it's about the team that adapts the best will be the team that ends up winning. Early. The halftime adjustments, you hear players talk about it, it's not a thing. They go into the fucking locker room, they eat a banana, they're going to go watch Rihanna perform the halftime show, and then they're going to go play.
all right,
How long
Peyton.
halftime, by the way?
Yeah.
That's 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I guarantee you the team that is winning will be sending some players out there to watch fucking Rihanna out there on the Super
that
Bowl
who's doing
halftime
it?
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Let's go.
So I think it's important to just
My
adapt
umbrella,
early and often. And again, for the Eagles, don't give Patrick Mahomes the ball last. Chase?
Easy for the Chiefs. This one is the easiest one is protect your quarterback. Because we still don't know how his ankle is doing. Obviously, some people here think it's fake. But
Dominican Sue will test that shit out real quick.
yeah.
I think his ankle is fake.
Yeah, I mean, debatable. But
Facts.
just protect your quarterback, man. Because, the strength of the Eagles is the pass rush. They'll get there. It's only a matter of time. So, give your quarterback a chance to make a play. And if you're Patrick Mahomes, if you get out of the pocket, don't do something stupid. Because with Patrick Mahomes, it goes one of two ways. It's either really bad or really good. But for the Eagles, it's simple. It's to stick to what you're good at. And so the Eagles are good at two things on offense, and that is running the ball and taking deep shots. Obviously, that has suffered past couple of weeks because something is wrong with Jalen Hurts' shoulder. So he got an extra 2 weeks to heal up. So we'll see what happens. And then that also caters to the Chiefs' weakness on defense is the corners. So, that's pretty much it, man. Just for the Chiefs, the way to win though is to attack the middle of the field. And so if Travis Kelce can have a game, be a long night for the Eagles.
All right, Kendall. Super Bowl predictions. Who you got coming home with the trophy? You can give a score prediction if you want to, but you don't have to.
Oh, I'll give a freaking score prediction. Fuck the Chiefs, their ass, for 1 week and 1 week only. It is fly, Eagles, fly.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to win 22-24. I'm going to say the Chiefs get a 2-point conversion.
That is an ugly ass score.
That's a wonky ass score. I don't like that at all.
The Chiefs are aggressive. They're going to get a 2-point conversion. Watch. We'll come back to this.
Okay.
Hey, Rich, we got.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, yeah. All right.
Final score prediction. I'm going off like a wall real quick. Let me think real quick. We're gonna go 38-21 Eagles.
Oh,
Hammer
bang.
the fucking over if you're betting B Rich.
Well,
Golly. All right, Chase, what you got?
Well, in case everybody forgot, conference championship game, I predicted the score would be, what did I say, 31-10, and it was 31-7. So I'm really on a hot streak. And then for the previous rounds,
Look.
you can ask anybody here. I was correct on a lot of my picks.
You was on that
predicted
shit.
I predict the Jaguars will win. I said the Giants will win. So my gut tells me the Eagles are going to win, and I think it could be a blowout. I'm going to say it right now. I'm thinking 28-10.
All right.
I'd love it.
So
Let's
I guess
hope.
I'm the lone wolf in here.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
I am going to take the Chiefs.
That's music to my ears, buddy.
I don't think it's going to be I think it's going to be a good game, close game. I'm going 31-27 Chiefs. So that's 3 Eagles touchdowns, 2 field goals, to 4 Chiefs touchdowns and a field goal. I think it's going to be 27-27 into the late fourth quarter. Harrison Butker for the win, and he nails it. You know how I like my kickers and my punters. Harrison Butker is one of my favorite kickers in the league. So I wanted to show some respect to him and let him be the one to win it for the boys out in Kansas City. Either way, though, I think the best part about the Super Bowl, other than the game, is just spending it, having a good time with the people your family or your friends, whoever you're with, eating some good ass food. I already know I'm going to fucking Sam's Club this week to buy some Super Bowl shit, pizza, Rotel, pigs in a blanket, the necessities.
No wings.
I'm not a wing guy. I'm a pizza guy.
Beards is coming to hard money.
And then,
I'm going about
And
5
then-
minutes down the road, though. Hard money.
there you go. And also the commercials. Commercials are always a plus.
The commercials were up here about 10 years ago. You know what
They
we're going
went
to hear? Whopper, 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 Whopper.
Whopper. And that's okay.
No,
That
it's
is
not
totally
okay.
okay. Okay.
Have it.
You know
your
that shit's
way.
on Spotify now, Be Rich, if you ever want to listen to it in the car.
No.
You can queue it up after your Zach Bryan. You can just queue up Whopper.
No.
But speaking of music,
Hold
Perfect.
on, wait. I got 3 things I want to say real quick. I just thought of something. 3 things. 1, that script that's going around was a game from like 2005. They just edited everything else. So that was from 2005. 2. Fuck. Why?
Fuck.
If I was a better editor, I would insert the clip of your last prediction where you said the 49ers are going to drive in the field and it's going to be a game-winning field goal. And so there's that. 3. By the time 6:30 my time is when the game starts. 3. I want to be like 24 beers deep by the time the game starts. You know why? Because I want to be nervous the whole day. I need something to fucking calm my nerves. So it worked last time we were there, so it's going to work this time too. So
That's
Go
like
Birds.
me when LSU.
Go Birds.
That's like me when LSU plays Alabama. I was belligerent.
Hey, it's a good time. It's a good
It's
time.
fun. You're so
And
much
I'm
more
gonna-
passionate. I was
I'm gonna record
cussing
the
at
game,
every
too.
play.
So
I'm going to be like that in Busch Stadium in about a month and a half. So I'll feel your pain then. Yeah. Or not
Again,
pain, but your nerves.
Speaking music, going back to that, we're going to transition.